Good morning and welcome to the Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We have been deluded, flooded with information that vegan diets are important and much more useful. The reality is the other way around. In fact, vegan diets can be very toxic. And if you are suffering from diabetes, if you are having autoimmune issues, if you are having gut issues, then plant-based foods are essentially toxic. Let's not forget it. And all this talk, all this hype about the food being good, which is plant-based, is market-oriented. I'm not against plant food. It has its own values. Let's not deny it. Balanced food is the best, but to say that only the plant food is good would be something which is absolutely unacceptable. I've been studying the science of carnivore and carnivorous diet for quite some time, and I'm impressed by the health benefits that the thousands of the people are getting from eating meat. As a matter of fact, it's much more useful and much more beneficial than the pure balance, than the pure plant food. And as I said, if you look at the carnivore diet, they are in fact increasing despite the fact that the plant-based burgers and the meats are coming. Plant-based milk is coming. And we forget when we read these sponsored research that in reality is just a marketing technique. I was talking about ghee, the Indian clarified butter, which was at one time thought to be extremely harmful. And now they say this is the best oil that you can ever have. Then came in the oils, hydrogenated oils, and now they are bad. In fact, the butter which is coming now in Canada is harmful, really. And that's why clarified butter is better, because the butter which is coming has more of palm oil. I'll come to that later on. But coming back to the fact that the plant-based junk food, if you want to have it, why not have the junk food itself? Why do we need something which is basically extremely profitable to the manufacturing concern? And if you really want health food, the carnivore food would be better because the leafy vegetables, the nightshades, the grains and the beans are highly toxic. Of course, fruits are the best. And if you study the evolution of history, originally man was a hunter-gatherer. And any food he would take would be fruits. So fruits and carnivore diet is the normal human diet. Now, somebody is going to likely ask me, how is it that despite all the research, I'm saying that the meat diet is better? I said in the beginning, it's not the meat diet I'm saying balanced diet is better. But meat diet is much more beneficial and much more healthy. Look at the autoimmune conditions. A high percentage of the people with autoimmunity see a drastic reduction in symptoms and many times complete resolution of the symptom by following mostly carnivore diet that contains the minimum of toxic plants. But autoimmunity is basically the most efficient way of elimination diet, because there are so many plants, vegetables that trigger autoimmune symptoms. Now don't be shocked. If I were to tell you that the gluten-containing grains and the beans, especially those beans which are higher in lectin than nightshades like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant and white potatoes, then oxalates from the leafy greens, are in fact the biggest triggers for the autoimmune conditions. And they're all plant food source. But have you ever seen the number of the autoimmune issues coming from meat diets? No. Then comes the gut and the digestion issues. People go gaga on the fiber and excessive plant-based anti-nutrients. They forget that excessive fiber and these plant toxins can worsen the digestive conditions. While a mostly meat diet can really be healing the digestive system in a lot of people. A digestive doctor, Dr. Rusico, stated in an interview that around 60% of his patients need less fiber, not more. And yet, we go to any GP, he'll say, take fiber. Too much of fiber results in overgrowth of certain kinds of bacteria that can cause more digestive distress. Too much fiber can also irritate the digestive tract in a lot of people. And I've seen that personally, that when you take more of plant-based food, you have issues. So, ideal would be to have a very, very balanced diet. But no, the sponsored research and the propaganda, the indirect propaganda, the advertorials have a lot of influence. If I was to tell you, based on my study in the Lancet, I find that the people who had Crohn's disease, they tried everything. And in that journal I saw that the people who started eating meat controlled their Crohn's disease much better. It won't work for everyone. And more conventional doctors have never even heard of carnivore diets. So don't expect your doctor to know everything. As a matter of fact, 95% of the GPs, general practitioners, are not educationists, not nutritionists. Because the medical education teaches about the symptoms and the treatment of the symptoms. It doesn't teach the nutrition education. And as a matter of fact, medical education needs to add nutrition education to its food. So only a small number of MDs know a lot about nutrition. So what they do is, the GPs, they refer you to a dietitian. Now dietitians mostly, who do not carry their own research, are again human beings. And in the best of their effort, they go by what they are. Now come to the diabetes, the biggest killer, and obesity. Carbs are not essentially bad. Now let's be very clear. Especially for the metabolically healthy people. And the people who do exercise, low carb diets can be particularly powerful at some time. And I've seen that if you take only the carnivore diet, your type 2 diabetes can come back to normal. So if you are diabetic, pre-diabetic, this is one of the natural methods. Secondly, it's good for weight loss. Now you will be amazed how. When you are eating meat, eating a meal, you gobble up carbs. Some foods are addictive. Meat is not addictive. It is impossible to overeat on calories with meat-only diet or mostly meat diet. Think about it, that you are having a steak. And once you are full, you don't feel like having more, so you leave it. You simply stop there. When you're full, the moment you're full, the feeling of satiety is there. But have you seen people eating a juicy grass-fed steak? They would not stop. Take up bagels, you won't stop. Take up muffins, you want to keep on eating. As a matter of fact, 85 to 90% carnivore diets help you shed weight. And I know it, and, based on my research, that the digestion is basically perfect once you cut out veggies, beans, nightshades, etc. And your energy and the body composition would improve. Problem is that we as human beings, right from the day of evolution as hunters and gatherers, were basically attuned to eat meat, not to attune grass. The beginning was as a hunter, and not that we did not eat vegetables, we did, but mostly it was fruits. Now, heart disease, for example, is one of the biggest killers. And the mainstream media, if you read, they will say cholesterol is the highest cause of heart disease, which it is not. What causes the heart disease are actually plant foods like vegetable oils and sugar, not meat, not fish, not eggs. Actually, fish and eggs contain important nutrients that prevent heart disease, like vitamin K2. Now, vitamin K2 you would not find in any vegetable. Carnosine, carnitine, DHA, EPA, stearic acid, all these are in meat, fish, and eggs. And then, have you ever seen that if you eat small quantities of squash, sweet potatoes, carrots, avocados, cucumber, along with the meats, that would be the healthiest diet? And that's what's required. I would personally think that anti-pork and chicken in the meats are not that good. They have got 10 times the inflammatory omega-6 content. But which pork and which chicken? It is a grain-fed chicken. You know, when you read it, it's a grain-fed eggs. No, you don't need it. You need free-ranging eggs. But red meat, like beef, lamb, and bison, they forage for the majority, and they are environmentally sustainable. The biggest impact of the vegetables and beans is your gut issues. Vegetables are an essentially ancestrally consistent food source for humans. No, that's wrong. A study was done of 300 tribes. Now, this study of 300 tribes living in USA, India, China, Japan. So practically the whole globe was covered. And these 300 tribes, it was seen that their health was much better and their diet was 80 to 85% meat, fish and fruits. And 15% was basically small amounts of nuts and roots. Leaves and stems are only 1%. So after all, 99% of the leaves are the wild are toxic. So why would the hunters in the beginning waste time and energy gathering something that has no calories? The majority of the plant foods our ancestors ate were not actually fruits, as I said earlier. And nuts and roots, of course, along with that. The 50% of the vegetables that you use are harmful, especially for the people who are genetically not in favor of that and are suffering from health conditions. For example, I'll tell you, brassica vegetables can be bad with the people having thyroid. Nightshade vegetables, like eggplant and others, are bad for the people with arthritis. They increase arthritis. Leafy greens can cause kidney stones, and certain other vegetables can worsen digestive issues. So They can have more. And again, I'm not saying that don't take them, but don't stop meat as well. Both are equally important. And then another thing which is very important, that when you take carnivore diet, a mostly meat diet, it is consistent with the human need and the human growth. I was reading a book, The Carnivore Code by Dr. Paul Saladino, and he says that he has eaten nothing but meat, organs, honey, and a small amount of fruit, and all his problems got solved. But then, which is better? The best thing would be open-minded. I'm not promoting vegetarian diet or carnivore diet. No. I'm promoting your healthy attitude. So be open-minded. Look at what's suitable for you. Maybe for some people, vegetarian diet is the ideal. But one thing is more important for longevity, that you have got to avoid absolutely worst foods like vegetable oils, soya oil, corn oil, sunflower, cottonseed, canola, sugars, and refined grains. Are you aware, by the way, that in the Hindu culture, meat eating was never prohibited? It's not even now prohibited. If you look at the Vedas, they do not promote vegetarian diet. They promote nuts, they promote seeds, and they promote meat. And are you aware that the Brahmins in Kashmir and Brahmins in Kerala eat meat regularly? It's a part of their life. And they are much more healthy than the other way. So, if you think that the sponsored research is the ideal guidelines, then it is not. Ideal would be your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own body. Take a food which is in tune with your body needs. Don't be swayed by the words like plant-based, healthy, natural. No. Look at what the ingredients are, what the impact can be on the different parts of the body. Quite possible, those negative effects might be positive for you. So you need a vegan diet. But for a normal person, the ideal would be not to shun anything, not to reject anything, but to eat a balanced diet that will keep you healthy. Thank you.